I guess my question though is around purpose and when it comes from the mind and when it comes from the heart, because those are different. And how do you work through what's emerging?
So when you mean heart, what exactly are you talking about? Is it the same one, the same heart that I'm speaking of?
Yes, knowing, just pure knowing.
Just the pure intuitive
Yes.
knowing. Yes. Always go with your heart if it is the same one. That's the
That's
reason why it is called the Atma or the Sadguru present. Because if you recognize it as that of the Holy Spirit, then if you frame it in that way, that my Atma is saying one thing, or the Holy Spirit is saying one thing, or the Sadguru presence is saying one thing, but my head is saying another, what should I do?
I think for me, the head gets stuck in the how.
The how, the why, the when, all this stuff.
Yeah, the why, I think my head has come around to
Yes.
that there's a force that is pulling and there's no stopping this force. But the how, and sometimes there's anger.
Yes. So thank you for that question. So the heart is saying, move to Timbuktu, suppose. The head will say, what? Just throw my life away? How is this possible? How? You see? But then what are we meant to do? You see? So the key is not to go on expeditions to the heart and live in the head. You see? Live in the heart and go on occasional forced visits to the head. What that means is that how? Let the heart move you, let the heart guide you. You see, I've seen in my life that the one who takes every breath of this body also can move every step of these feet and every word from this mouth.
But sometimes it's hard to know which one because the head can pose as the heart. So that's
Exactly, exactly,
that fine tuning, I think, is where I'm
exactly,
having trouble.
exactly, exactly. So this is the question that everyone that is coming to a true spirituality needs to grapple with. And I provided some tools to help you with this. So if you notice the presence of an unconditional love, like unconditional love, and if you're checking with integrity, because many times our mind itself will just try to pose, and say, yes, yes, but love is here. It is my heart that said, you see? But you just start with the silence, just start with not rushing. So the first tip is the presence of an unconditional love as the guidance is being received. So actually, even before that, it is important to say that if your intention is to follow God or to follow your heart, the Holy Spirit within, then even if you get tricked by the mind, it's all right. He's going to take care of it. Don't have to worry. So it's your intention that counts more than anything else. So we don't have to worry that much about it. But having said that, I'll still give the tips so that we can discern more clearly. Like the head is always rushing, is always authoritative and troublesome, even when it's pretending. Like some of you feel like you're hearing Ananta's voice saying, "My dear child, I want you to," but you can still smell, no, that if it's coming from the head, it's the head which is posing. You see? So because there is no love there, there is no patience there. You see? Your heart is never going to push you. It is never going to be authoritative. It is not going to say we're running out of time. See, all this is the mind's rushing, grasping. See? So if you notice tendencies to rush and to grasp, then you can notice it is the mind. If you notice the presence of an unconditional love, then you can be pretty certain it's the heart. But the subtler clue is that if you notice it coming from the presence itself, from the Atma within, so the presence is palpable to you, it's subtler, but it's almost impossible to replicate for the mind, because this is purely intuitive insight. The presence is purely intuited. So while that is happening, the mind cannot function. So that is the second, the presence being tangible or palpable. And the third, which is the subtlest, beyond subtle actually, is that the reality of the pure witnessing, the pure awareness, which is your truth, your reality, that is apparent to you as this guidance is being received. Then you can trust that guidance to be coming from divinity, from the higher place. Now, I've given all of it now, not expecting all of it to be immediately clear, but how it works in satsang is that we seed it. You see, we seed it and then it flowers within. You see, it just flowers because something is heard, even if the most things the mind will not be able to grasp. You see, but it gets assimilated somewhere, and then it starts to flower within. So, how to distinguish between the selfish, egoic voice of the mind versus the holy voice of the Atma within? The presence of unconditional love, the guidance coming from the presence itself, and the truly non phenomenal insight of your absolute reality being apparent, those are the tools which you can use to check. Soon it will become second nature. It just become second nature. The texture of it actually is so distinct, you see, that initially we may need these tools, but soon the love soaked words from the heart are quite apparently distinct.
I know what you're talking about. When that happens, there's nothing stop. There's no thought. You just, the action comes, that knowing that you're talking about. And so the goal in some ways is to trust that the knowing will come and take action when it does instead of
Yeah. And allow that to move you.
when it comes.
When it comes, don't even make that like, okay, guidance came, now I must act on it. God, you move me. You see, you move me. Then He moves you. You'll see the beauty of this, that if you start your day also like this, saying, you do it. You see, the mind is very scared of that because it feels like you'll become irresponsible, you'll sit on bed all day, you'll not be productive, efficient, all of that. But those who have tried it never have a complaint really.